Today, the entrepreneurial spirit. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics, world latest post covering finance and problem news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Today, I'm joined by Irene Falcone. Hello, Irene.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks very much for spending some time with us. Your bandwidth is up and down, but I think people can still see you fine, so great to have you on the show. And look, you're a serial entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm addicted. I've come to the realization that it's actually an addiction.
So, where did the addiction come from, right? I mean, what's driving that sort of need to create and, drive businesses and create and drive and do it again and again?
I think the only way I can describe it is when I started my first business, I talked a lot about I was feeling very unwell. I was feeling very tired, really sluggish. Wasn't feeling myself, found it hard to get out of bed, to get up in the morning to get on the bus to go to my corporate job. And so I talked a lot about starting Nourish Life because I was trying to get rid of the toxins in my body to make myself feel better. Then I started Nourish Life and I felt fantastic. I quit my job. I was bursting with energy. Must have been the chemicals. I thought, must have been the chemicals. And, and I felt really great for a really long time. And then I sold the business. I wasn't feeling so well. And I think I spent a lot of COVID in bed feeling quite dreadful. And I thought, what can I do next to make myself feel better? I mean, there's not much left. I've done the vitamins. I've done everything else, the gut health thing. So I thought, well, I'll stop drinking and I'll see if that helps. So I went into a bottle store and I said, do you have any non-alcoholic wine? And they looked at me in exactly the same way they looked at me when I asked for natural deodorant 10 years ago. And I realized, hang on a second, I'm doing this again. And so I stopped drinking and I started drinking the non-alcoholic stuff and I feel fantastic again. Like I had gone to the doctors, I was on vitamin B, everything. And I'm actually thinking, though, it's not the fact that I stopped drinking alcohol and perhaps not the fact that I stopped putting chemicals on my body, although they help. I think my drive and passion is being an entrepreneur and disrupting industries. And I think it's to answer your question, when you feel like you want to jump out of bed and pack an order or jump in on a forklift, I think you know that you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, I run my own show here and I jump out of bed in the morning and look forward to doing exactly that, doing what I want to do because I love doing it, that I've got a passion for doing it, and I get huge satisfaction from that and the fact that you get reaction from, the community in response to. Let me just go back to Nourished Life first because you started out with $100, right?
Yeah, $100. And an Alfa Romeo that I got out of my divorce from my first husband.
Right, and tell us a bit about the journey. So, you started pretty much doing everything and, then it grew and it grew and you sold it for a remarkable sum.
Yeah, thank you. It's really interesting because I think I'm a great example of someone who can. I think I'm a great example to show people that you can either start a business when you've got 20 million cash, or you can start a business when you've got $100 cash. And I've done both ends of the spectrum. And I think Nourish Life's a great example of that you don't need capital. I didn't take out any loans. I did it literally bootstrapped it myself. It was a harder slog. There was better margins. Like there was a lot of things that would go, like if you don't have a lot of money, you need to make sure the products that you're selling got some margin in it and those sorts of things. It did really well because I launched Nourish Life at the same time as social media was taking off. It was the same time that people felt really comfortable putting their credit card inside the internet. So we're talking 10 years ago now. It's hard to think and hard to realize, but 15, 20 years ago, people weren't comfortable putting their credit card into a computer. or sharing their personal life on social media. So they were we had that going for me, as well as people became more and more aware of the environment, the toxins that we were putting down our drain, reusable coffee cups versus, disposable coffee cups, landfill. We didn't really think about that much 15 years ago. And so Nourish Life was great because we were able to adapt really quickly, month by month, on what consumers became more aware about. So it started off as simply not to put petrochemicals on your lips, use a natural lip balm. It started with that, and then it moved to, landfill and compostable bags and things like that.
Right. And so that's interesting because you started with a sort of a, specific idea, a specific experience point, and then you extended it and expanded it as it developed. How critical is that ability to be able to expand and evolve and change as the business grows?
Yeah, it is critical. And I think I went through this same thing with Sans drinks. Now, I didn't set out to start a store to be the non-alcoholic version of Dan Murphy's, right? Which is what I am. That wasn't the intention. I actually wanted to make my own non-alcoholic gin. And I thought I'll just be the face of this beautiful bottle of non-alcoholic gin, and I'll sell it to Dan Murphy's, and it'll be fabulous. And then I realized, holy moly, I don't want to be selling at other stores. That's going to be hard work. I'm going to have to be dealing with people like me. So I thought I'll just set up a little store, and then I'll just use that as the platform, and I'll just sell it through there. And my gut said to do that, but my ego really just wanted to do the gin and make $1 million selling gin to other people and be done with it, do a few photo shoots. I didn't really set out to go and pack orders again all day. But when I started the store, I realized the hunger people have for beer and wine and spirits and all these other things in the non-alcoholic realm, that I haven't even looked at doing the gin label again. Like, I'm just, if it's a journey, right? You would know, everyone listening who's an entrepreneur would know it's a journey. I think the biggest learning I've had is go with it. And, at Nourish Life, at one point we thought, do we really want to be shipping 2 kilos worth of laundry detergent to people in Darwin? Do we want to just stick to the lip balms? But people wanted the laundry detergent. They couldn't get it. So I thought, no, we're going to do it. And so had I been stubborn and just did what I wanted to do, which is just do makeup, then Nourish Life wouldn't have been the $20 million business that it was when I sold it. And so same with this. If I just stick to what I really want to do is make my own products, then Sans Drinks won't be the juggernaut that I want it to be in a couple of years' time, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So do you build a business plan, or do you just sort of make it up as you go along?
I'm a big believer in building a business plan. I am. So I think it's important to get it down on paper. I really do. But do not stick to that plan. You've got to have a plan. But if you've got to pivot. And that's something I've learned working in corporate, is corporates aren't very good at the nimbleness. And I think that's what makes small businesses so successful, is that they can adapt really quickly. So yeah, have a plan, but unlike corporate, have the guts to change the plan and pivot.
And so the current business that you're running, the non-alcoholic beverages story, which of course at one level is very un-Australian, but actually is also very significant, has grown dramatically, right?
Yeah. So I think we did. So we've done $250,000 in 6 or 7 weeks. I think 6 weeks. That's extraordinary. I think, for a small business. I'm not comparing it to Nourish Life right now, but if I compared it to when I started at Nourish Life, I'm about 2 years in to Nourish Life before I got these kind of volumes, and now I'm getting these volumes in a month and a half. I think that's very exciting. Sans Drinks doesn't tell people not to drink. It's about still embracing the Australian culture that we have, But if we can swap out a few glasses of wine or beer during the week, we're all better off for it.
Yeah. And just how does it compare then with, mainstream? I'm thinking of, some of the other winemakers and beer makers in Australia, right? How does this intersect with what you do?
The big beer makers and the big wine makers are making non-alcoholic drinks and wine. So McGuigan's Zero is such a great example. Now, I worked with McGuigan's wines when I started out in media back in the 90s. And so I've always had a bit of an affinity to that brand. Now they've launched 5 non-alcoholic versions of some of their best wines and sparkling wines. They taste almost identical. They're Aussie. They're still $12 a bottle like their usual wines. Affordable. And they made them because they wanted to give people that option. But I tell you what, I blow them over with a feather with the numbers I'm doing. Their truck is coming out to my warehouse every week with unloading like 6, pallets to me. They're like looking at this going, whoa, this is huge. So I think there's a market there, but I think the sales for the category weren't very big because I don't think people knew that they had these options, as they're very hard to find. Even for me, I went to Dan's, I went to a few other bottle stores, and I was able to get a few here or there, but you certainly couldn't get everything in the one place that was all non-alc.
Very interesting. And yeah, part of it is absolutely awareness, all right? And that's where I guess social media and online really plays dividends. But also, I guess you've got to make sure that your execution and delivery and fulfillment is also working well as well.
You do, and I learn a lot from Nourish Life, and the number one thing that you do when you run a business is everything else comes second except for the customer. So if we think about, I know it's just really simple terms, but I know it's really simple, but as a business owner, you get carried away and you forget, and you get egotistic. There's a whole bunch of things that happen and you forget the number one thing. And this is very true for e-commerce, and I'm just so passionate about e-commerce. But if somebody puts their credit card into your website, they're doing it because they want their order quickly. They want it, everything they ordered arriving, and they want it quickly, and they want to feel good when they get it. End of story. That's all it is. And so if you just I focus everything now just on that. So no matter what happens, I don't care what happens in my day, the number one priority is that order's got to be packed, and it's got to go when the pickup guy of Fastway in Australia Post and everyone comes, they got to have that order's got to go. And I help unload them. I load them up onto the trucks myself. Sometimes I'm in the bathroom. Don't go. Just wait. Hang on. I just had to go to the bathroom. I just had to pee. There's 2 more that need to be packed, and so I'll literally stand in front of them so you can't leave. And so that's crazy, I know, but that's just what I love doing, and I think that's what sort of sums up anyone in e-commerce.
My last question then, is
Yeah.
the journey or the destination the most important thing for any business, this particular business? In other words, are you looking to it because of what you're doing, or because of where it gets to and the fact that you can probably dispose of it down the track?
I love that question so much. Nourish Life was about the destination. I ran that business and sold that business because I had a dream, and my dream was to buy my own home and buy a Porsche. Okay,
As you do.
as you do, right? No, well, I did. That was the destination, and lots of business owners are probably wanting to make money as well, so they can own their home, and that was my dream. And I have all that now, and now it's all about, and I am savoring and enjoying every moment of every day that I have in my warehouse. I'm talking to all of the staff differently. I'm giving them more time. I'm enjoying the school pickups and going back to the warehouse. And so really, the first one was about the destination, and I got to the destination and I realized it was about the journey. It really is about the journey.
Yeah. Interesting. I would share that sentiment, because that's exactly how I feel about what I'm doing. If people want to find out more about your store, where do they go?
Sandsdrinks.com.au.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much for spending some time and sharing your insights with us. Good luck with the business venture. Sounds like you're onto a winner there. And I hope your sales continue to expand and you continue to enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much.
Great to talk to you. Thanks very much.